We will now decode the most ancient manuscript ever discovered, the Book of Dzyan, a sacred text so old it predates every religion on earth. In 1888, a woman named Helena Blavatsky published something that shouldn't have been possible. Her mysterious book, The Secret Doctrine, contained translations from ancient verses that described the universe emerging from primordial darkness, matter arising from consciousness and cosmic cycles spanning billions of years, concepts that wouldn't appear in mainstream science for another century. These weren't her own ideas. Blavatsky claimed they came from the Book of Dzyan, housed in a secret Tibetan monastery and preserved by adepts who understood reality's fundamental nature long before telescopes or particle accelerators existed. The verses describe a universe beginning from a dimensionless point, expanding through cosmic inflation and developing the complexity necessary for conscious life. They speak of 7 stages of manifestation, of vibration creating form, and of consciousness as the ground from which all phenomena emerge. Here's what makes this genuinely unsettling. These descriptions align with discoveries in quantum physics and cosmology that required our most sophisticated instruments to detect. Either Blavatsky was an extraordinary synthesizer of existing knowledge, or she had access to something far older than we've been told. During her years in Tibet, Blavatsky underwent rigorous initiation with masters she called Mahatmas, perfected beings who preserved what they termed the primordial wisdom religion. According to Blavatsky, these guardians maintained that before religions became corrupted by human interpretation and institutional control, there existed one unified understanding of reality's fundamental nature. While scholars have questioned these origins, pointing to similarities with existing Buddhist tantras and Hindu texts, the mathematical precision and philosophical depth of the verses suggest knowledge far beyond ordinary 19th century understanding. The stanzas represent what Blavatsky claimed were fragments of this original revelation, the master template from which all spiritual traditions drew their power. Think of it like discovering the original source code for a computer program, except in this case, the program is reality itself. If Blavatsky's claims are true, these verses contain the fundamental operating instructions that govern how consciousness creates the physical universe. Most significantly, this knowledge fundamentally undermines all systems of external control by revealing an essential truth. Divine consciousness exists within each person as their birthright. When fully realized, this understanding makes external spiritual authority obsolete and renders fear-based control systems powerless. The first stanza, when nothing existed except eternal consciousness. The eternal parent, wrapped in her ever-invisible robes, had slumbered once again for 7 eternities. This might sound like poetic mysticism, but when decoded, it contains startling cosmological information. The eternal parent represents what physicists now call the quantum vacuum, not empty space, but a field of infinite potential energy from which everything emerges. Imagine the deepest possible sleep, where even dreams don't exist. That's the state before any universe begins. The 7 eternities describes cosmic cycles spanning billions of years, vast periods during which universes emerge, evolve, and return to primordial unity. What's remarkable is that the timescales align with current estimates of cosmic evolution, from the Big Bang through galactic formation to eventual heat death. Another verse states, "Time was not, for it lay asleep in the infinite bosom of duration." This anticipates Einstein's relativity by thousands of years, recognizing that time itself isn't absolute, but emerges with manifestation. Before space-time crystallizes, only eternal duration exists, consciousness without temporal limitation. It's like saying time is just a feature of the dream, not the dreamer. But here's the revolutionary part. The verses reveal that consciousness precedes matter, not vice versa. While materialist science assumes awareness emerges from complex brain chemistry, the stanzas teach the opposite, that matter crystallizes from consciousness through specific stages that can be mapped and understood. The second stanza, the first stirring of cosmic intelligence. The second stanza describes the moment before creation begins. The hour had not yet struck. The ray had not yet flashed into the germ. The Matripadma had not yet swollen. Let's break this down in plain language. The ray represents the first movement of consciousness toward expression, like the first thought arising in an empty mind. The germ symbolizes the initial point from which all creation expands with mathematical precision. Matripadma translates as Mother Lotus, the divine feminine principle that births all forms. This cosmic womb corresponds exactly to what physicists call the quantum field, an invisible matrix of energy from which particles spontaneously emerge. The lotus appears across cultures because it represents consciousness blooming into manifestation while staying rooted in its transcendent source. Think of it like a seed containing an entire forest. The potential is there, but it hasn't expressed itself yet. The stanzas reveal that creation occurs through sound, primordial vibration that structures reality at every level. The vibration sweeps along, touching with its swift wing the whole universe and the germ that dwelleth in darkness. This isn't physical noise, but the fundamental frequency of consciousness itself, what mystics call the word, or the music of the spheres. Modern science confirms that everything vibrates at specific frequencies, from quantum strings to galactic clusters. Sound literally creates form by organizing energy into stable patterns. It's like reality is a vast symphony, and the first note sets everything else in motion. The third stanza, the architecture of reality revealed. The third stanza describes the moment when potential transforms into actuality. The last vibration of the seventh eternity thrills through infinitude. The mother swells, expanding from within without, like the bud of the lotus. Here we see consciousness beginning to express itself through finite forms according to principles that ancient seers perceived directly. The number 7 appears throughout the stanzas, representing complete cycles of manifestation that govern everything from atomic structure to cosmic evolution. Modern physics recognizes sevenfold patterns in electromagnetic spectra, harmonic frequencies, and particle interactions. These aren't coincidences, but reflections of consciousness organizing itself through mathematical principles that reveal the universe's hidden architecture. The manifestation unfolds through exact stages. First comes undifferentiated unity, then the initial disturbance that creates duality, followed by the emergence of space-time, energy condensing into matter, and finally, complex forms capable of self-awareness. It's like watching a master architect's blueprint come to life, except the architect is consciousness itself, and the building is the entire universe. The scientific vindication, how ancient wisdom meets modern discovery. When we compare these ancient verses to modern scientific discoveries, the parallels are striking and, frankly, difficult to explain. The stanzas describe the universe beginning from a dimensionless point, expanding through cosmic inflation, cooling as it grows, and eventually developing the complexity necessary for life. This remarkably parallels Big Bang cosmology that required centuries of scientific advancement to formulate. One passage reads, "Darkness alone filled the boundless all, for Father, Mother, and Son were once more one, and the Son had not awakened yet for the new wheel." This Trinity represents the three fundamental aspects of manifestation: consciousness, Father; energy, Mother; and their interaction producing form, Son. Physics recognizes these same principles as space, time, and matter-energy, the essential components from which all phenomena emerge. The stanzas describe matter arising through 7 distinct stages of densification, each governed by specific laws. Quantum physics confirms that particles emerge through phase transitions, sudden shifts from one state to another that mirror these discrete stages. The web of being mentioned throughout corresponds perfectly to what physicists call the quantum field, an invisible network connecting all phenomena through correlations that operate faster than light. Ancient seers perceived this web directly through expanded consciousness, while modern scientists detect it through equations and experiments. But here's the key difference. While mainstream science treats consciousness as an emergent property of complex matter, quantum mechanics increasingly suggests the opposite, that consciousness plays a primary role in shaping physical reality through observation and measurement. The mystery schools understood that premature revelation causes more harm than benefit. Only when humanity develops sufficient ethical foundation can such powerful knowledge be safely released. The current emergence of quantum physics and consciousness research suggests we may finally be ready to integrate these insights responsibly. Blavatsky's translation represents a carefully controlled revelation, enough information to stimulate serious inquiry without providing techniques that could be dangerously misapplied by those lacking proper preparation. But this isn't just ancient history or abstract philosophy. These revelations have practical implications for your daily experience right now. The stanzas reveal that the same consciousness that creates universes operates within your awareness in this very moment. The cosmic principles described in these verses function at every scale, from galactic evolution to personal transformation. There's an ancient saying, "As above, so below." The same laws governing cosmic manifestation operate in your immediate experience every day. By understanding how consciousness creates reality on the universal scale, you gain insight into how awareness shapes your personal circumstances, relationships, and life trajectory. The 7 stages of cosmic emergence mirror the stages of individual awakening with mathematical precision. Just as the universe evolves from undifferentiated unity through increasing complexity towards self-aware consciousness, personal development follows the same pattern. From unconscious identification, with form toward recognition of your essential nature as awareness itself. This knowledge provides the foundation for authentic spirituality that transcends religious dogma and New Age fantasy. When you understand the actual mechanics of consciousness as described in these verses, genuine transformation becomes possible rather than remaining trapped in mental concepts about enlightenment. The stanzas reveal that you don't need to acquire spiritual powers because they already exist within your consciousness as dormant capacities. You don't need to find God because divine awareness is what you fundamentally are. You don't need salvation because there's nothing to be saved from except the illusion of separation. This brings us to the deepest teaching of the stanzas, a revelation so profound it transforms everything when truly understood. You are not a separate being observing an external universe, but a localized expression of the same cosmic consciousness that creates everything. The awareness reading these words right now is identical to the primordial intelligence described in these ancient verses. This recognition transforms your entire relationship to existence. Instead of seeking fulfillment through external acquisition, you discover completeness in your essential nature. Instead of fearing death as annihilation, you recognize your immortal essence that transcends all forms. Instead of feeling isolated and powerless, you awaken to your intimate connection with the creative force of existence itself. The connection between individual consciousness and cosmic intelligence has never been severed. You simply forgot it was there. Every moment of inspiration, every flash of intuitive knowing, every experience of transcendent awareness is this fundamental unity, expressing itself through your human experience. The stanzas of Dzyan represent humanity's birthright, the original understanding of reality's true nature that institutional religion and materialist science have obscured through centuries of conditioning. These ancient verses call you home to the recognition of what you have always been, consciousness itself, temporarily forgetting its infinite nature while exploring the adventure of finite form. Within these cryptic lines lies the master key to authentic freedom, not escape from the world but recognition of your true relationship to everything that appears within awareness. The same intelligence that spins galaxies and orchestrates evolution beats your heart and illuminates your thoughts. The ancient adepts who preserved these teachings understood what modern seekers are rediscovering. You don't need to attain enlightenment because you already are the enlightened awareness in which all experience appears. The stanzas simply remind you of what you temporarily forgot. your unbreakable identity as the eternal consciousness that dreams all worlds into being. We kindly invite you to look further beyond the veil of ordinary perception. If this video resonated with you, please consider subscribing to our channel, liking this video and sharing it with your loved ones. May the light of wisdom guide your path, and may the unity of all life inspire you to greater compassion and understanding.